Hello YouTube, Fox here, and this is my review of Star Trek DS9, or Deep Space Nine as it's called. What can I say about this show, but good God is it good. It's more soap opera-y than most other Star Treks. If you don't know, most Star Treks are usually based on the exploration, but this is more based on slice of life on the space station called DS9. If you don't know what slice of life is, it's basically stories that has to do with the personnel's personal life. And I really love DS9, even though it doesn't have any exploring elements in it. Yeah, sure, they get to explore outside the wormhole, but it's not really the main part of the storyline. The main part of the storyline is following the crew of DS9 around in their everyday antics, especially Quark and Odo. I love those two. I don't know what kind of direction the writers were going for those two, or what the directors wanted those two actors to do, but the way they play off each other, the cop and the basically a thief, just trying to get one over on each other, reminds me so much of Tom and Jerry. And it the way they act, sorry for the notification, the way they act toward each other is like a almost respect and hatred element to the whole show, but in a very odd way. Toward the end of the show, they oddly kind of respect each other, which is kind of makes their whole storyline come full circle. Now, the actors in DS9, perfect. I'll always say Captain Sisko is my favorite captain. And the reason why? Because in a way, he's got both elements of Picard and Kirk mixed into one person. He's got the sternness, the by the bookness of Picard, but he's got the rashness of Kirk. I mean, how many other Starfleet captains and canon do you know that will pretty much punch Q in the face? That I wasn't expecting that when I actually first started watching DS9. I had no idea that's what they was going to plan on doing. And there it was. Commander Sisko striking Q square across the jaw, and Q taken back about this. I mean, it is no other time in TNG or the Next New Generation that Picard ever get that angry toward Q. But here's Sisko not really getting angry at him. He's just tired of his shenanigans. But now, to me, where does the story fall flat? In a way, it's the whole shapeshifter dominion. Now, if you don't know anything about DS9, I am sorry. But it is on Netflix and Hulu. And every now and then they will show reruns on certain channels, on cable and satellite. So I suggest you go watch it. But the whole Dominion War thing is the first time in Star Trek outside of the Enterprise do we get to see the Federation failing at battle. In both the original series and TNG, the Enterprise is OP, overpowered, if you're not a gamer. But here comes along the Dominion. The first time you get to see the Dominion forces attack the Federation, they're attacking a Galaxy class ship, which is what the TNG Enterprise was, if you didn't know. And they destroy it. When I saw this, my mouth was hanging open for a good 10 minutes. I'm like, there is no way. The Galaxy class starship is the strongest thing the Federation has. And then it gets destroyed? Wow. Time for a tactical retreat. But where the whole storyline falls flat is they really don't explain what the founders actually want. Not to my knowledge, anyway. I will admit, there was some parts in the show I did kind of gloss over at. But to my knowledge, they never really did explain exactly what they wanted to do with the Federation. And I never understood why the Federation could never find a peaceful way at handling the Dominion. Until the last season, anyway. I don't know if that was done for a story sense or just because they wanted to. But we also get to see a lot of the other factions, especially the Romulans. Now, in TNG, you get to see a lot of Romulan presence, but in DS9, in the first couple of series, I can't exactly remember when they first started showing up. It was around the time of the whole Dominion War actually starting, and they get the Defiant. And then they just kind of disappear from the show. Now, to me, as a Star Trek fan, I love the Romulans. Yeah, sure, they're bad guys. They really don't like anybody that isn't a Romulan. But their backstory that is told in TNG is very interesting. For those who don't know, the Romulans were once Vulcans who decided to split because they wanted to be more emotional. Well, they split. They started the Romulan Star Empire, and then the whole mess with the Federation and the Romulans all started. But to me, as a Star Trek fan, I like the Romulans for the simple fact that, yeah, sure, they're shady, they're conniving, they're all these other tags they give them, but and I know this is off topic, but I really love this show, the episode in TNG where Captain Picard and Data hit you right on a Klingon bird of prey and infiltrate Romulus. And we get to see what Romulan culture actually looks like. Yeah, sure, the government's a little shady, but the people themselves, they kind of seem like they don't really care. But anyway, back to DS9. DS9 to me is the best Star Trek. Even though it doesn't have any exploration in it. Or, well, take that back. It has very little exploration. But the storylines they come up with for day-to-day operations, almost the space station as well as with the crew, it kind of it's like you're there living it with them. Now, my favorite character in all of Star Trek is Montgomery Scott, Lieutenant Montgomery Scott, who was played by James Doohan. I'm not for sure exactly how you pronounce his last name. It's Scottish. But, I'm sorry, I pulled a German accent on that. But I really like that character. But in this one, in a way, I have several favorite characters out of DS9. In this one, you get to see more of Miles O'Brien. A lot more of Miles O'Brien. And for the life of me, I have yet to understand why they didn't really pull the whole he's an Irishman in space routine the way they did with Scotty. Or Montgomery Scott. You know, put a Scotsman in space and he's going to act like a Scotsman. But with Miles O'Brien, you never really do see him portray his Irish side much. Yeah, sure, he'll go down with Dr. Bashir to Quarks and toss some darts at a dartboard, or go up and play around in a holodecks, rafting or mountain climbing. But they never really do play on his Irish accent or his Irish heritage much. I don't understand why they did that. When they did it a lot with Montgomery Scott being a Scotsman. I mean, if I remember right, there was one episode where they actually let Scotty actually wear a kilt. But now, the one thing that has always troubled me about DS9 is Jadzia Dax. I love the actress who played Jadzia Dax. She really nailed her role. I mean, the way she acted toward Commander and Captain Sisko later on, at knowing everything about him and him knowing everything about her through her being once Curzon Dax. And I've gone a little bit over again, but it'd be very long to explain exactly what's going on if you haven't seen the show. So I really do recommend going to see the show to find out why I say what I said about that. But the actress who played Jadzia Dax, I really loved. The thing I don't understand is killing her off and then bringing another actress in to play the Dax role. Excuse me. I mean, all through the episodes and seasons, you always hear Jadzia Dax saying that she cannot actually reconnect with her past. But she gets killed off, the symbiote gets traded into another trio, female trio, and then she comes back, doing her old job, same rank, believe it or not, same rank, doing her old job, and I'm like, wait, isn't that going against everything they've said in the past about not reconnecting with your ex-hostess past? But my other favorite character has to be Kira Nerys. Now, that is a very sad story, her backstory. But to see how she acts around Sisko in the first season especially, trying to get him to leave, trying to degrade him in any way she can, then all of a sudden start to respect him as a commanding officer and someone she can trust. I really like her storyline. But all in all, Star Trek DS9, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. You will be amazed as I was. Like I said in my Enterprise review, I will not give any of these a score. This is just not fair. But my personal opinion, DS9 is